Well, hello and welcome everybody to the Business Mastery Show. And today we're very privileged. We have Jessica Rhodes with us, and she is the founder and president of ESS, which is Entrepreneur Support Services, a business providing various admin and marketing support services to busy entrepreneurs and small business owners. Entrepreneur Support Services is the parent company to interviewconnections.com, the premier source for booking outstanding guests for your podcast. In addition to finding and booking great guests for her client podcasts, Jessica and her team help successful entrepreneurs get booked on other shows so they can share their message with the world and gain valuable exposure for their business. Hello and welcome, Jessica.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm excited to talk podcasting.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for joining me.
Mhm.
I'm going to go straight in and I'm going to ask you now, why do you suggest that using podcasts can help people's business?
Sure. So, podcasting is an incredible way to build connections and relationships with your audience, with your potential clients, and with your customers, clients, and patients. There are a lot of different ways to be marketing your business. And in terms of content marketing, you're looking at blogging, videos, podcasting, email newsletters, and print and mail newsletters. Podcasting is up there as one of the most effective way to build relationships because just think about the way people are consuming that content. They're listening in their earbuds, they're listening in their car stereos, and it's not 2 minutes or a minute and a half scanning a blog post. They're listening to you for 30 minutes, sometimes up to an hour or more. And they're hearing your voice. They're hearing the way you say certain words. And they're hearing what you have to say. So they feel more connected to you. And I can just tell you, I consume podcasts on a daily basis. I just turned one off right before we started this recording. I've always got them
Right.
playing. And I feel like I'm friends with the host. I feel like I have a real connection to them. And actually become really good friends with some podcasters who I listened to their show and then I met them at a conference and we've become great friends. So
Wow.
it is just an amazing platform to build relationships and to get your message out.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. And how would somebody set up a podcast interview? What equipment and what methods or suggestions and tips can you give? Can you offer?
Sure. There are, if you Google how to podcast, you're going to get, thousands, if not millions of different articles and tips and tools and ideas. So I will share with you how I started my podcast, and you can take that information and do with it what you will. But this is how
Okay.
I did it. So first, I have an interview-based show. It's called Roads to Success, and I interview content and relationship marketing experts. So in terms of, I first started with, just the basics of having Skype because I do my interviews over a Skype audio only call. I've got to have a microphone, so we're on video here. So I have a Blue Yeti microphone. And on this microphone, you'll see a pop filter. So that just improves the sound quality a little bit by making the pops and the S's go down a little bit. And
Okay.
then I use call recorder. So on a Mac, it's Ecamm, ECAMM call recorder, or if you're on a PC, it's Pamela.
Right.
And those call recorders are going to record your call. Then for me, what I do is I record the interview, and what I did before I set up the podcast was I got an intro and an outro done. I am lucky because my brother is a rock star. He is a musician, and
Wow.
he created and produced the music that's in the intro and the outro to my podcast. And then I went on Fiverr and I
Good.
got a voiceover, and $5. I think I paid 10 or 15 because I
Wow.
got a few different rounds and edits, and I changed my mind of
Yes.
what I wanted him to say. But music, the voiceover, call recorder, a microphone. You record the interview, and then I hired a company called podfly.net, and I just put my audio into a Dropbox folder, and they edit it. They do all kinds of things that make the podcast sound way better. And then they publish it onto my website and onto iTunes. So, with the exception of the startup of getting the audio together and all that, on a weekly basis, my only responsibility is, booking the guest, recording the interviews, put it in Dropbox folder, and my team at Podfly does the rest.
Right. That sounds really efficient.
Mhm.
And the equipment, what sort of price do you think that's going to cost somebody starting up? Just so
So
that they
there
can budget for it. Yeah.
There are a lot of different microphones out there. I would say, if you're starting out, there are, of course, microphones for $20. I would encourage you to at least, if you're on a budget, you don't have a lot of money to spend, I really would encourage you to at least spend $50 to $100 on a microphone. So there's a
Okay.
couple different options. There's the ATR 2100 is recommended a lot. So I don't use that, but it is a really great microphone. And then the Blue Yeti, which is what I use, and it's a USB mic. So either of those, I think, are in the $50 to $100 range on Amazon. But, just as long as you're using some type of microphone, that's going to be better than relying just on your computer's internal mic.
Yes, that's great. Of course, it ups the quality of the sound, doesn't it? And for
Absolutely.
relatively small cost. That's
Right.
brilliant.
And you
This,
want to encourage your guests also to use a
yeah.
microphone with Interview Connect podcast. And one thing that we always include in our email to the guest is please use either a headset or a microphone because it vastly improves the sound quality. So, I was on a podcast where the host actually offered to mail me a headset to use and then I'd mail it back. But I have a microphone, so I didn't have to take them up on that. But they went the extra mile to ensure that their guests had good sound quality by offering a loaner.
Yeah, that's great. Um, I think that's really useful information. The kind of service that you use, what would be the kind of startup amount someone would put on aside to make their podcasting much easier for them by using a service like that?
Mhm. So, well, what I would first say is you can outsource, everything but the actual recording of the show, right? You are the host. So you can outsource everything from the graphics, the show notes, the booking guests, the email, the posting to your website into iTunes, posting, publishing to Libsyn. There's a lot you can outsource. I would first say, figure out where your skills are. If you're not ready to outsource everything, figure out what you are best at and what you're most efficient at. So I don't outsource the booking of my guests because that is what I do and that's what I'm best at. I have a lot of connections. I don't need
Yeah,
help. I don't need somebody's help booking that. But I have no idea how to submit a show to iTunes. I am not techie. I don't know how to edit a show and it's not worth my time learning how to do that. So I hired the guys at Podfly to do that for me. So I pay $175 a month for a weekly podcast. And that includes the editing and it includes, actually, no, it's $275 because I also have them publish it to my website. So in the neighborhood of $300 makes it so all I have to do is record my show and put it in Dropbox. And that
brilliant.
obviously doesn't include I actually email and coordinate the
No.
guest interviews, but
And then that would be the cost each time. So,
yeah, it's $275 a
yeah,
month for 4 shows. So
that's
yeah.
brilliant. That's really good. It's good value and it saves time and energy and frustration too.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
there are definitely a lot of different people that provide this. My friend Ben Kruger over at Authority Engine also provides a service where his team will edit and produce your podcast and your show notes. He's a more high-end service. He is definitely a much bigger investment, but I know that the quality of his work is outstanding. They will go through and take out all of your ums and your ahs. So it's a more detailed editing process, more than I really needed for my show. But, a lot of the shows that he's editing are really successful podcasts with tens of thousands of downloads. I don't expect to have 10,000 people listening to my show, so I didn't need to invest, that much money into the podcast. But you have to
Yeah.
decide what your goal is and what you want to get out of it.
Yeah. So, how would you go about it? Well, for you, it's easy. You have your own service. How would you go about inviting people to be interviewed? And
Mhm.
what would you say? And what would you do? And what would you not do? Most
Sure.
importantly.
So first, I mean, you obviously have to know who you want to interview, the types of guests. So for my show, Roads to Success, I know it's about content and relationship marketing. So I'm interviewing entrepreneurs who are experts in those categories. So be specific and know what your guidelines are. I mean, I work with some clients who kind of tell me who they want to interview and then they change their mind. Oh, I don't really, one person fits the criteria. Oh, but I just don't have a good feeling about them. So you have to really know what your specifications are of who you want to interview and just stick to that until you have a few episodes up and published and you can start gauging how your audience reacts. So don't be
Yeah.
too nitpicky on who you want to interview, but know what criteria you're looking for.
Yeah.
When you find people that fit your description of who you want to interview, I would scan three different sites: their Facebook page, I would scan their Twitter profile, and their website. A couple of things you want to look for is what kind of audience do they have in terms of, how big is their following? When is the last time they posted on social media? If they haven't tweeted in 3 years and they haven't posted on their Facebook page in two, ask yourself a question. Might they be kind of stepping out of the spotlight? Maybe they don't want to be interviewed because they have no presence on social media. So you want to kind of just scan their their websites and see what you can find. When
Yeah.
is the last time they've blogged or posted a podcast episode? That's going to show you, are they doing marketing right now? Because if they are not blogging, if they're not putting out content, if they're not posting on social media, they might not be the best person for your show, even if you really want them. They might not be somebody
Yeah.
that's motivated to be getting behind a microphone. So,
Yeah, if they're
oh,
not active, then
right.
they're not going to really help you project your business either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want a guest who's going to share the episode when it goes live. And if they don't even post on social media for their own stuff, they're probably not going to really help you grow your audience. So look for somebody that's active and that's out there and that's being social. Okay. So once
Yes.
they've met kind of those criteria, you want to find their contact information. I almost always email them first, but the guest bookers on my team to pick up the phone and call. Even if the phone call is, "Hi, I am very interested in booking you for an interview on my podcast. I'm sure you prefer these requests in writing, but I just wanted to give you a call, introduce myself, and see what's the best way to send you this request." Because that's going to save you a lot of time. If they can just take care of it all over the phone, you're not writing an
Yes.
email and waiting for their reply. So I definitely encourage picking up the phone. That really makes you stand out because most people don't call.
Yes. It's more
Yeah, and
friendly, isn't it?
mhm.
It makes you approachable.
It definitely does. I have saved a ton of time just by picking up the phone and calling people. But then, most likely you're going to be emailing them. And, I would definitely write up kind of a general pitch email that you can send everyone. But with each guest, you want to make sure you personalize it a little bit. So I'll give you a structure of how I write these emails. I was sending a bunch this morning from my client
Okay.
facing. So first sentence, personal. I hope this email finds you well. I hope you're having a wonderful week. I heard your interview on this show. It was so impactful. I really enjoyed the content. Just something to break the ice. Don't get right down to business right away. Makes a huge difference. When you get an email that's like nice at the beginning, it kind of relaxes you a little bit. You're like, oh, yeah, I am having a great week. And then the second part of it is introducing yourself and your purpose. So why the heck are you emailing me? I'm Jessica. I'm a guest coordinator for this podcast. I am writing to request you for an interview on my client's podcast, or I'm writing to request you for an interview on my podcast. And then what the show is, who are you? So I would say, I'm Jessica Rhodes, my business interview connections, and my podcast, Roads to Success, interviews expert in content relationship marketing. So something very short. And then lastly, why they are the best fit for your show. So I want to interview you on my show to talk about your expertise in Facebook marketing, because marketing on Facebook is an incredible way to get your content out there. So very specifically, why they're a good fit for your show.
Right.
Because if you send them a general pitch, something that you've cut and pasted to a million different people, I don't feel, and I want to feel special.
Yes.
You want your guests to feel like, wow. Of course, you're emailing dozens of people, you're booking dozens of
Yes.
guests, but you want to make that person feel like, wow, I am the VIP. You want
Yes.
me. And then just
Well,
end. It's
they'll give their best performance, won't they?
exactly. And they'll also know what you want to talk about. I mean, Angela, I get interviewed on podcasting, on interviews, on Pinterest, on virtual assistant. So I get interviewed on a lot. If I don't know why you're reaching out to me, I won't know. So what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about my story? So tell them what you want to interview them about, or at least give them a taste of what you might want to talk about. And then end with the logistics. So it's 30 minutes, it's on Skype. Make sure you tell them if it's audio or video, because I can tell you if it's
Right.
video and they weren't prepared, the women are going to be pissed if they haven't done their makeup. And the men, hopefully they're wearing a nice shirt.
Yes.
So just make sure you tell them if it's audio or Skype, or if it's audio or video.
Right.
And tell them how you schedule. If you're interested, we can find a time that works best for you, and look forward to hearing from you. So there is a pitch email for you.
Simple.
Yeah,
Great. Thank you.
sure.
Thanks for that. So, is there anything else that newbies need to know about podcasting?
Just be in it for the long haul.
Yes.
New and noteworthy really psychs people out. It gets people thinking, oh my gosh, I only have 8 weeks or I'm doomed. My friend Daniel J. Lewis is the host of the Audacity to Podcast, and he's, a total expert in podcasting. He has really looked at podcasters, a year into it, and the ones that did excellent and new and noteworthy were in the top 10, and the ones that were never in the top of new and noteworthy, eventually you're going to get about the same number of downloads down the road. So don't obsess over being amazing at first. Just be in it for the long haul, and don't give up or quit, because even if you don't have 1,000 downloads, even if maybe 30 people are downloading your podcast and you're thinking, oh, that's only 30 people.
Yes.
No, that's not only 30 people. That's 30 people who are listening to your voice on a weekly basis. What do you want to
Yes.
convert one of them into a client? Will that be worth it for you? If it is, then don't worry about getting more downloads. Just focus on building a strong relationship with those people.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Would you mind saying a little bit of what not to do? Some, waggly fingers on what's going to put people off and what's going to put people off from signing up for your show?
Sure. So let's see, signing up for your show from a guest perspective, just like we talked about looking at the guest social media and their website, I want you to put yourself in a guest shoes and look at your website. Actually, I was looking at the website of a potential guest, very successful entrepreneur. I think he gets probably requests for interviews all the time. And he actually says on the contact page of his website, if you're writing to request me for an interview on your show, I might say yes, but if your website looks like it was built on WordPress in 1995, probably not.
Oh,
so,
dear.
so, I would definitely invest in a site that looks professional. No, it doesn't have to cost you $5,000 to build it. My sites are nothing too special, but I did invest in a web designer to build them. I did invest in graphic designers to build my logo and my brands and everything. So, because that really communicates whether or not you're the real deal. Sure, can you do your podcast artwork on Canva? Absolutely. If you're not a great graphic designer, is it going to look good? Maybe not.
Mm.
So just, I would definitely invest into a great platform, having a good website and getting content up there. I can tell you, if you're waiting to launch your podcast for 3 months, it's going to be hard to book guests because they want to be able to listen to
Yes.
your show.
Yes.
And sure, you can say, well, I'm building up interviews, so they're going to launch with a bang. You got to make it worth their time. And if it looks like you haven't taken action, if it looks like you haven't launched yet, what if you never launch and that's a waste of their time? So launch your show, have a good platform, and just focus on building genuine relationships. So that's what I would say.
Yes. I aim to put up one a week, but
That's great.
I have a new blog site which is attached to my show site, and I will be putting those up on a daily basis, and they're just little mini video blogs, and I think that that's going to really boost the whole exposure to my site, and I'm really excited about that. So I'm trying to upgrade my site and keep all the balls in the air at the same time. And
Mhm.
that's what I'm steering my viewers and my listeners towards: continual improvement. And
Absolutely.
eventually you become to be the person. you know, in the
Totally.
TV business, the online TV business.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's great.
Absolutely.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to add to what we've already said? And you are the expert on booking guests, and your agency is amazing.
Oh, thank
And yes, I took a little look.
thank you. Appreciate that.
And how would somebody, if they wanted to start booking guests, how would they approach that? Obviously, contact you, but
Yeah, I would definitely, I mentioned earlier in the interview, just in regards to outsourcing tasks, if you're somebody that has a hard time thinking of people to interview or finding, I would really encourage you to check me out at interviewconnections.com because that's what our team is best at. We're best at building connections and reaching out to people, getting them booked for interviews. So I would definitely recommend investing in our services. You can learn more at interviewconnections.com, and I'm happy to set up a Skype or a phone call with you before you sign up if you want to ask me some questions. My
great.
email is jessica at interviewconnections.com. That goes right to me, and we can hop on Skype, we can hop on a phone call, we can talk about your podcast and just figure out what is going to help you most. And my email is jessica at interviewconnections.com.
Thank you very much. And you've given away so much information, really useful information today. And I know that my viewers and listeners are going to really be able to use all the information that you've given me. So thank you very much for joining us today on the Business Mastery Show. And it's been really great having you as a guest, the perfect guest.
It's
Thank
my
you.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye bye.